So I have the mic in my hand. Good evening. Good, good, good? Question mark? No. Good morning. Takes like too much fucking oil to not say. Why? Why do I want to say morning Vietnam so much? What's the problem with that, anyways? Here we are. Let me. Why did this thing open with this? What's up? What? 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 Oh my god. This is so disorienting, brother. Also, yeah. I need to disconnect, my own. Also, why can't I see my own stream? What's up with that? Test. Yeah, it should. No, wait. Now it should work. Yeah. Am I forgetting something else? I already did the most important part. That is to say, uh, let me. I don't know. It's like give me a second. I just want to let this also mute yourself, brother. Thank you. There we go. Yeah, everything is working. Everything is working. Good evening. Good evening. What's up? What what's in it for us today? Also, hi, silver silver looking. How do I call you? Welcome. Hope you're fine. What was I trying to say? Yeah, here we are. I don't know. I hope everything works. Nothing. Let me first thing to address. Yesterday, I wanted to be here, and what happened was internet fucking died. Not internet, the whole electricity died. So yeah, there was a fucking random power outage. Sorry for that. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen. I didn't intend that. Uh, anyway, good good evening. Here we are today. At least here we are. So that's more than enough for me, I guess. I don't know. It's I'm not going to lie. I think it's annoying. It's to some degree it's the unexpected event of life. Those things that you don't really have in your mind as, oh yeah, this is going to happen. I have already streamed during the storms and whatnot, and it wasn't an issue. I don't know why. We didn't even have any sort of report or something like that. But I guess it just happens. It just happens. Also, uh, next thing that I wanted to say, I made probably the funniest tweet of my whole life. I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't really measure them. I guess that the funniest tweet of the last time, probably. I think the last one funniest tweet that I made before this one was the oh yeah, dear investors. That one was also like a fucking incredibly funny thing. I don't know, man. Let me be honest. There is something that I like to see out. Oh yeah, I do these things because I am passionate about them, and I do these things because I want to enjoy it myself, and I want to have a good time, and I want to have an enjoyable existence and whatnot. Do I actually do that? Am I actually trying to make stuff that makes me smile? Am I actually doing those things that let me feel that satisfaction? In some cases, unavoidably, yeah. In some others, things of that sort, things of that nature, like I don't know. Sometimes you have to accept that you are going to say stuff that is maybe not going to be like the most, oh wow, yeah, this fits the whole narrative, but I don't know, brother. That's not the real point. The point is have a great time, and just with that, you're already enough. It's already enough. It's having a good time sometimes is more of a thing that we say that we're looking for rather than something that we're actually working towards. That's how I would say it, I guess. But I don't know. I don't think it's something that bad or anything of that sort. It's just trying to have something of that nature. Yeah, that and many more of those similar tweets fall under that category. I guess I don't know. Unavoidably, one issue would be that in social medias of this sort, there is no such implementation that allows you to easily say, okay, this is sarcasm or this is comedy or stuff of that sort. You don't know what you are reading. You don't know which filter it is going through. How is it that you get to find out and how you get to enjoy the things that you do or that you say you enjoy, I guess. And in that same case, it's also there are many other experiences. There are many other, not just experiences, things that we see out there that if we had the possibility to instantly know if they are of certain sorts or whatnot, we will have a much easier time navigating through. But at the very least, we have other spaces like this one in which I don't know you have the possibility of hearing the other person say, "Yeah, that was just a joke. Thank you." I don't know. That's supposedly enough. Supposedly, sort of. I wouldn't say so, but it's something. It's something. Yeah, and that's satisfying enough. I don't know. I also that's what I wanted to say. I guess about that. I I just wanted to minimally say, yeah, something funny. So a very funny, the funniest tweet ever. Uh, But yeah, that's all that I truly have to say. Besides that, I don't know, man. There are many other things that also happen. I guess life is full of events. The issue is what's truly matters. Nice question. I don't know. There are a way. Uh, it's overwhelming. I have to say it like that. I don't think I am being dishonest if I say life is overwhelming to some degree. Not because, oh wow, yeah, so many bad things, but just there are so many things to focus on. There are so many things to do. There is this endless sea of possibilities, and it's nice. It's enjoyable enough. It's nice enough. It's good, and it's pleasurable, I guess, and it's interesting to try stuff, to be, to do something, to have the possibility of being there. To have the chances to enjoy doing what you say you want, what you believe you are interested in. All of those things are highly beneficial, and it's just one has a hard time. I personally, yes, I have a hard time properly knowing if ever all the decisions that I take in that sense are the most correct ones. But I don't know. It's just unavoidably a matter of, oh yeah, yeah, it's I shouldn't be second guessing so much. I shouldn't be assuming so much or trying to decipher so much. I don't know. It's to some degree it's not really complicated. It's just something that doesn't happen that much naturally, and because it doesn't happen naturally, it becomes an issue when it needs to happen, and you have to force it more than just let it be, let's say. And just because of that, you already have a sort of weirder experience in life, I guess. But I don't think it's that bad or it's something so unenjoyable. It's just, you know, life. As always, life. And in that same mode of operation, yeah, it's nice to see so many things. It's nice to the world. The world is always moving And it's nice to keep moving also with the world rather than to just be out there or not having that satisfaction at all from anything else. Maybe, maybe, not a maybe. I guess the maybe comes from a. I have to say things, and I don't want to say them. Yeah, it's much more painful to not even be capable of having something that you enjoy. I think so. I find it to be the case, and having that pleasure is already enough. I guess that's the real point. That's all that truly matters. Thank you. After that, I don't know. Everything else is fine. I don't know. It was one of those instances in which you just recapitulate your whole existence, and out of nowhere you see, ah, yeah, I think things are going in the way in which I want them. I'm satisfied. I am fulfilled. That's it. I don't know. It's just despite. I let me try to say it like this. I think yeah, things might not be looking the best in some areas, I guess, but unavoidably, it's not about. Oh yeah. Life in itself is such an enjoyable thing and such a bad process, and having to be, having to continue being, having this ordeal of, yeah, you know what, I just get to enjoy myself in this thing that is called living doesn't become so much of an issue, and it's complicated to talk about that. As always, I have slowly been approaching more and more that whole reality, or that whole notion, I guess, that whole idea that I assume to some degree. I don't want to use the word complex that much. I think it strips the word itself of its meaning if you overutilize it, and even more. Unavoidably, even if in some cases we get to talk about things that might look like not the most easily approachable things, it's bad still to say, oh yeah, this thing is complex or is hard or is complicated and whatnot. Maybe it is. Maybe I don't need to say it. Maybe even if it is like that, we don't need to focus ourselves on that. That's not what matters. I don't know. I do you want to know something easy? A good proverb, I guess, is do unto others what you want done unto yourself. Treat others the same way in which you want to be treated. Yeah, that is simple. It doesn't need to be something complicated to have a meaning. That's also why saying, oh yeah, this thing is complex is meaningless to some degree. Also, good evening. Welcome, Christian. I hope you're well. Um, good, good one. I hope you're nice. But yeah, that's why I am trying to. There are too many masochists for this to work. Maybe. I mean, let's say like this. Probably the reality is. Hmm, I don't know. I think it's something unavoidably risky in that sense. You have people that have way too many interests. Um, but I guess the honesty of at least admitting that you have them is good. Also, welcome, Wolverine. I hope you are fine yourself too. And how am I doing? Fine, fantastic. That's how I am doing. Sorry. I don't know. Being hype is good. Being hype is bad. I don't know, man. Do I need to define that? Maybe I don't. Maybe I guess the definition. Some things change in definition, no matter how much you keep thinking about them. The eternal process of the endless modification that things suffer throughout time. Today I can say I'm fine. Tomorrow I might be like the absolute worst place. We never know. But yeah, at least right now we are good. So that's good. That's good enough. And also, I think ready for it. What the fuck? Um, I want to sleep, man. So, and I do like, yeah, no, I don't know, complicated stuff, yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to ask anything else. Be a responsible person. That's all that matters, I guess. Well, I'm going to try and leave it there. But yeah, I don't know. Life is good. Life is good. That's all I can say today. That's, I guess, all that truly matters. I don't know. Is it all that truly matters? I It's a conflicting idea. I think, yeah, it's things are going well. I guess I am relieved to some degree. That's all that I can't say myself. Life is actually good. Life is not that promised thing that you hear. Oh yeah, you know what? One day things are going to look better. No, things get to look better even today. And I guess I don't know. Sometimes I we talk about emotions supposedly here. Why the fuck can't I say it more properly? Yeah, you know, some days it's not so easy to say. Yeah, yeah, everything looks nice. Not every single day you wake up and you look around and you say, yeah, you know what? I am going to try to have the best of the days today. It's a it's a fucking complicated matter. It's not easy. And yeah, in some other occasions you don't need to do anything actually. And it becomes a nice day by itself. It gets to have those nice qualities that make you happy. And that's enough. And that's not just enough in the sense of, oh yeah, that brings me my average level of enjoyment. That's fulfilling in that sense. Yeah, it's life is amazing. I guess that's what I can say today. I don't know. I come from an incredibly exhausting day also, but also it's not like it's all that bad. It's things are always moving. You know, things are always happening in different places in different areas, and nonetheless, here we are still. You know, it's that's more than enough. For me, that's more than enough. I feel like the all the other things, all the other dreams, all the other desires get to continue existing, get to still be available at least. I think it's egoistic to say, oh yeah, for me. I believe most people always have things available to them, things of that sort that you say, I want to have, I want to do, I wish to fulfill. Most people have those. I might be being overly, I guess, cynical on the other hand, but yeah, unavoidably, at least so far, something that I have come to understand is sadly the reality in terms of mental health and whatnot is the person who doesn't have anything else going for them doesn't think about it that much. You don't live an empty life devoid of any happiness if you don't have anything else that you are looking forward to. It's quite an easy answer, or it's quite a simple decision to say, oh yeah, you know what, today I'm not feeling like this thing of being is worth anymore. I don't have things to look forward to. I don't have stuff to move myself towards. And today I can say, yeah, you know what, that's it. And for that same reason, I have to say, yeah, just being here is already more than wonderful. Just having the possibility of at least maybe I can't directly address what I want. Maybe I don't have the capacity of recognizing what I want myself. But I know that I want something. I know that I have some things that I desire, and that's enough. That's to some degree enough. It's you just accept what you get. Not oh yeah, I need a bigger goals, better conditions. I maybe maybe not. Maybe I'm just playing against myself, you know? If I keep being in that other order, today is a wonderful day already, and that's it. That's all that matters. That's all that I actually believe in the deepest sense of myself, I guess. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's always stuff of that sort. Yeah, it's it's nice. It's very nice, I guess. I everything else taken into consideration. The fact that we get to after yesterday, that was to some degree unavoidably an incredibly weird event that we didn't get to be here. Besides that, being here already is wonderful. So yeah, I'm happy with that already, man. I don't need that much more. Sometimes I make it look like I need too much, or I might lose myself into many desires. I don't actually need that much. I don't know if anybody doesn't need that much, but yeah, just having the possibility of sitting here, continue to talk out all of this stuff is good enough. Sometimes that's sufficient to make you once again feel good, and that's wonderful. I don't know. You know what? It's this endless chase of, oh yeah, you know what, I need to be happy, I want to be happy, I say that I am looking towards happiness, I am aimed for satisfaction, those things that bring me fulfillment, and in some cases, in some occasions, it's not a thing of looking for anything, it's just what you already have already brings you some degree of content, some degree of not just fulfillment. That's always the issue. I don't know how to properly define it. It's actual satisfaction, I guess. True, honest satisfaction, not that other type in which you're just feeding the endless void of, oh yeah, you know what, I need to be sitting 5 hours playing this stuff. I don't know, man. It's this thing. It shouldn't be that complicated. It's always this endless notion of, oh yeah, I am actually doing what I want. More than sufficient. For me, more than sufficient. And I don't know. It's I guess it's also unavoidable. It's the sad reality of knowing that yeah, we not everyone gets to enjoy that. Not because it is not reachable for everyone, but rather because it takes way too many other processes that not everyone gets to go through in terms of, okay, I cannot actually sit down. I don't have time to sit down. I think about my life. Everything else is falling apart around me, you know? I don't have that time to look inwards and feel satisfied. It doesn't happen, man. It, but in some cases, it's not about the comparison. I get to do that. I can do that. That's it. Oh wow, yeah. Somebody else somewhere for some reason might be suffering through. True statement. Does that modify my particular experience in life? Does that mean that I don't get to have the privilege of enjoying what I have myself? I don't know. Once again, I might be playing too much against myself. I might not be gaining anything if I stay just in that level of thought, of cognition, so to speak. And I don't need that much more. Nobody needs that much more. Sometimes, but it's what we allow from the outside, I guess. It's what gets accepted or normalized or just used as the norm, let's say, that happens so much and that gets to be the usual thing, rather. I don't know, for example, yeah, one of the many things that I remember having heard about, I think repeatedly through recent times, as in, I don't even know, how recent? Probably the last week or so. The last, maybe the last month even, or yeah, I guess even the last month. It's to some degree, it's unavoidably one of the many issues of life in general, but has been even more present lately in my life personally. It has been this thing of, oh yeah, yeah. And sometimes you know stuff. We all know things, okay, but you know something that you can try to share with someone else. The issue is you cannot do that directly, okay? True. The realization is, but in some cases, it's also not that I don't have the capacity to at all think and explain what I am feeling, what I am going through, what I know to other people, and that yeah, what I know and that I can also identify might be useful for someone else. I cannot use it at all because it is wholly transgressive with the way in which that other person already is accustomed to living. No. Uh, in some cases, it's also about the same thing of, yeah, I have to sit down, I have to try and think about what I'm going to say, about in previous order was I have to sit down and think out what I already have so that I can, in some cases, come to that realization of, oh, yeah, this is good enough, man. The same thing happens with, you know what? I can also say things if I actually, I supposedly care about this thing that I know that I want to give to this other person. If I care so much, I can also find a way in which I can say it and I can give it to that other human being. We already have the basis of language. With that, it should be sufficient for me to try and find a way in which I can construct something, something good enough. I just need patience. Do I have the patience? Maybe I don't, unavoidably. I might not be capable of sitting down, I might not have the interest to do so, but it's not a question of, oh, yeah, 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 some things are impossible to inherit to others because these, these ideas, these notions are so shocking, so contradicting with their actual modes of living. I don't know, man. I feel bad for saying it to some degree, but I have seen way too many people. I have talked with people all sorts of paths of life who come from all sorts of paths of life. And I don't feel like, yeah, I can't, if I am interested in doing so, give anyone something. Or even more, receive something from the others. I I can unavoidably say things like, "Oh yeah, I don't do that well in social events. I don't do that well in any type of social encounter. I don't get to enjoy these experiences of actually aiming towards these other things and trying to talk with somebody who I don't know. Maybe I won't have such a good time. I don't know, man. Now I remember. I don't know if I said it here. Probably it's one of those ideas that I think I tried to keep to myself before. Unavoidably, that was wrong. That's also why partially I decided to keep it to myself. This idea of, yeah, yeah, it's sort of meaningless to talk with literally anyone. No, not really. Everyone is precious in some way. Everyone has something to say about anything. Can you give it enough time for that thing to come out? Can you understand what the other person has inside of them? It's it's not just complicated in terms of, oh yeah, yeah, everybody is a special snowflake that has their own singularity. Maybe no, man. Maybe you're just going to say what other people can say in your own words, and that's it. But that's better than not having anything at all. That's more than sufficient for me. You know, you have something that you care about. Sufficient. More than enough. You know how many people don't even have anything that they actually care about? I already said this, like, I don't know, 5 minutes ago. At least in some cases, it can happen that you can sit down and look around and see, yeah, I'm happy. I could be happy. I could actually say that these things that I have around me bring me happiness already. That I am aspiring for even more things, not for the sake of an actual interest in that thing which would allow me to do even better, but rather for a more selfish desire that is just fueled by an unhealthy way of attachment to worldly things, let's say, okay? And I can also see some other people don't even have that, or other. We, the world is incredibly wide. There are some people who have to suffer way too much, man. Have to go through unavoidably horrible things, have to see bad stuff, have to find themselves in just exhausting situations every day. I don't know. Maybe unavoidably in a stretch, I guess. But yeah, if throughout your day you don't go through traumatic experiences, that's a fucking wonderful day, man. That's a fucking incredible day for me. You know, it's in some cases the standards are maybe a little bit too high. Oh yeah, yeah. Today I need to be a very bright day, and the temperature needs to be this, and I need to do these other things. Maybe I don't, man. Maybe assuming that I need to do something, okay? Maybe I can do things that actually make me happy. I can actually dedicate myself to things that I won't feel like were the worst things that I invested my time on compared to that other set of stuff that happens in life in which, oh yeah, you know what? I'm just moving through the emotions of life and nothing else. I don't know. It's not really that complicated. It's just honesty. Is it honesty? It's something about the nature of how we're accustomed to living, how we are used to being and whatnot, and in many cases, just never considering all of that stuff. I guess let me say like this. I guess at some point, this endless con, con how do you say it? Commotion. Is it even a word in English? I am assuming that it is. Maybe it isn't. Uh, chaos. Similar word. Chaos. All of this chaos of the modern life, the current life that is to be expected out of everyone. Yeah, sadly, that's. I mean, not supposedly. That's just how things work. Sadly, the norm in the grand societies is to live a very neurotic life, to live a life of high activity, to live a life in which you might have to go through things that you don't like at all. Yeah, and I don't know. Sometimes it's also about not just choosing every single day you choose. It's not, oh yeah, yeah. You also have to choose more of these other things. You already know that. We already know that. We don't need to go through that. We don't need to look around and say, oh yeah, yeah. You need to consciously choose. it's sort of insulting to say that, you know? It's sort of incredibly fucking insulting to hear, oh yeah, you know, you have to choose the things that you want the most. Don't I supposedly already know what I want? Don't I have already lived my whole fucking life. Now you are telling me that I don't even know what I want? It's kind of offending. Not because, oh yeah, this person is being so honest, but rather because, man, I'm not even capable of enjoying the things that I say that I enjoy. I'm not even capable of understanding if what I say that I enjoy is truly something that I enjoy or not. I don't know, yeah. Just doing those things instead of living in the fantasy of, yeah. I should have all of this other stuff happening. It's, yeah, this is what I wanted to go to or towards. That, I don't know, it took me like half an hour probably at this point to get to this idea of, and sometimes living in autopilot, let's say, that very common expression of the modern days in which, oh yeah, you know what, you aren't doing what you want, you aren't going towards those things that you say you care about and whatnot. You are living in autopilot. Empty quote that doesn't mean much, but yeah, you are now living in this state. Wow. You should actually be doing things that you want and whatnot. Yeah. The sad reality in that case is that, yeah, I might just not be looking towards the places that I say that I care about, doing the things that I say that I am interested in doing. That same side of fulfillment that comes only from living the life that I say that I want to have, not the one that is an ideal life, but rather the one that, even in my daily existence, is the one that I try to picture as desirable, as fulfilling, and as useful, but that I might not be capable of getting in some occasions, not because it is not attainable, but rather because I am just not actively working towards having that. I don't know. I can claim to myself every single day of my life, you need to drink water, you need to drink water, you need to keep yourself hydrated, you need to be capable of drinking water. Am I actually doing it or not? Is that the only thing that matters? Can I say to myself or not? Can I actually focus on those things or not? I can endlessly drill onto myself many things. I can keep trying to solve the stuff, you know? This, all of this, I guess, comes from this one memory, I guess. If you have, I don't even know where did it came from. How did this guy come up with that? What is the original source of all of that stuff? But yeah, this idea of, in some cases, people has this tendency to even sit down, think out their life, think about ways in which they could fix it, and after that you keep living the same life. You can identify what are your problems and you don't do anything to make your life better. What's why are we complaining later on? I don't know. I, it's not that I don't understand. I wish it was as easy as to say, oh yeah, I don't understand. But it's just, I guess, anxiety inducing, or from a personal perspective, let's say it like this, from a personal perspective, one day, once again, you just get tired of, oh yeah, you know, I could fix my life in this ways. I could make things work if I work in these other aspects. I'm not going to, but I could make things better. One day, I guess the desire to make things better is bigger than the actual desire to just fucking continue doing nothing else, man. I don't know. One day, the will overcomes the tradition or the customs or the habits or whatever you want to call it. Address it as, make it look like talk of in a certain way. In some cases, you don't need any of that other stuff. In some cases, you just need to actually change things. And yeah, that's enough. That's a possibility. That's an open possibility. That's something that gets incredibly wonderful. That's something that feels nice. But to sit down and to do it actually is what matters, what's complicated, what doesn't happen naturally for most, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to say it in a sense of, oh yeah, yeah, so special. It's not about specialty. It's not about uniqueness or anything like that. It's just about, yeah, just like everyone else. I have a life that I say I want to live. I have things that I want to move myself towards. Can I do that? I can. Okay, I am going to do that. Easy enough. Easy enough, man. It's, I guess, unavoidably to some degree. You just have to admit that, yeah, there are other things that I don't actually like that much. I don't know. I guess I was I was thinking about that premise. Stuff has been happening. Yeah, I don't know. There is something that I like to complain out in inwards for myself, and that is, oh yeah, in many cases I'm not that much present in my own speech. I'm not the main subject of what we talk about or what I talk about in general. And the reality is, in some cases, I don't need to do that. We don't actually have that much of an obligation to mention ourselves that much. It's, oh yeah, me. This endless necessity to remind everyone else that I exist. I don't know, man. We already do that. We already know that. Wow. Thank you for the reminder. Here we are. Thank you for continuously treating me like a little kid. There needs to be a reminder of that. No, man. That in all honesty, it feels patronizing to do that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's just, why do I say that? Because personally, yeah, stuff happens. Stuff has been happening recently around, I guess, my own life, sadly, and the realization was, I don't know, man. I wouldn't actually be all that angry if I had to get down on many things. I wouldn't be that angry. We might have to make many changes, many adjustments and whatnot towards the way in which we live, the way in which things function right now. Uh, I guess around the actual modes of existence that we are used to having in my household, I guess, as a general statement. And yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be all that angry. I don't think it's useful to be all that angry about it. There are many other things that are more important. I have other things that I care about. At least I say that I care about them. Am I going to let? I don't know. Oh yeah, today or not today. This week I will have to eat in a row rice for 5 days. So fucking over. It's time to throw a tantrum. What? Is my life so empty of everything? What am I eating becomes as much of an issue, man? Is is my whole utter rest of the time that I am alive so meaningless that what am I consuming for the sake of sustaining myself? Oh yeah, but you know we have high cuisine, we have all of these other new inventions. We have the human has become quite advanced at this thing called creating foods and making for itself a very wonderful place in the kitchen because tools have been given to us and we have advanced so much compared to the last 1,000 years in anything that is related to food and the preparation of it. True. Does that mean that I need to associate still food as something else than just things that I have to consume to keep myself alive. No, it's not an obligation that I have. It's a luxury that I get to experience, but it's not something that I am obliged to follow strictly, nor something that I am required to integrate in my whole existence. It's about the tiny pleasures. You know what is a fucking tiny pleasure? To know that I get to read. That's the true tiny pleasure. Not to. Oh, yeah, yeah. Today I will eat a little bit of cooked pork with some sesame oil and so many other wonderful spices and whatnot. I don't know, man. Yeah. Good night, guys. Good night. I hope you're well. Sorry for, I guess, ranting so incredibly much today. The accumulation of energy since yesterday is what I have to blame. Have a wonderful night. Please rest well. Ah. Also, there is a mosquito and I can't catch it. I am incredibly angry. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, in some cases, stuff of that sort is so weird. I guess I one just never stops to look at it from a different perspective, I guess. So many modes of operation that I don't truly bring anything to my actual life. It's this. Maybe I am over exaggerating. Maybe I am taking things out of context unavoidably. But it's this idea of nominal versus real salary. In some cases, I have nominal interests, desires, experiences that I go through life. How many of those are real, necessary, useful, beneficial to me? I can strip away from my own life a lot. I could. Can I actually do it? That's a different question. I could do that. I could stop and look around and yeah. It's not, I don't know, it makes sense. Unavoidably. Thank you. Unavoidably, it's the issue of this proposition. Oh yeah, yeah. You can live only on, I don't know, green leaves and water from the river and nothing else. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not proposing that. I'm not the ascetic type of life guy. It's just trying to go back, trying to trace a little bit back into this idea of I am allowing way too much stuff that I don't actually care about. I am having way too many other things that I don't actually need. I am focusing way too much on things that I don't have an interest on, a real interest on, you know? I have, I don't know, man. I, it's, I was reminded of that tutor. I was talking with some people that I know, friends. I don't know how to call them, sorry. I guess acquaintances, probably. What's this thing of, oh yeah, yeah. You know, I can go out there and spend so much on new clothes and spend so much on fashion and whatnot. I don't know, man. Do I need that? Am I obliged to have that? It's what am I mentally that I am accepting that as my requirements for a good life? What am I doing with myself that I am allowing myself to utilize so many other resources Not just, oh yeah, the money behind it, but rather the mental energy. It should be an assumed thing, no? We have a limited amount of energy. Uh, Consolidated, you're evolving, but your way of life hasn't adapted yet to your new consolidated consciousness. I don't know, I wouldn't say so. I guess unavoidably, the reality is, or let's say like this, mentally the evolution is always present. The issue is to be capable of sustaining that, or to transport the mental evolution onto the real physical evolution, and to allow it to exist in a way in which it allows you to actually feel the consequences of your actions, in a way in which you are enjoying the fruits of your labor and not just angrily looking at the idea of, oh yeah, I want to be less attached, I want to be less interested in stuff and whatnot, you know? Sometimes, I don't know, and any kind of vice might be a lot more tempting than what we can actually realize, but it also isn't a completely true statement to say, oh yeah, and because of that I cannot ever change. No, there are way too many temptations with everything everywhere, almost in any kind of form, shape, color that you want. Yeah, do I need to let them be so much part of my existence? I don't know. It what? In reality, 5 years? That's like an incredibly long time. Makes sense, but that's, I don't know. I'm like incredibly impatient. I don't know. 5 years? That's like incredibly long time. But yeah, makes sense. It's, I don't know. I don't want to say, maybe, I guess it's a sort of sensual topic. This idea of, oh yeah, attraction? No, manifestation. Manifest. Mental, mental manifestation, mental manifesting. I think the proper term is manifesting stuff and whatnot. Spiritual manifestation? No. What is it? Something like, ah, yeah, manifestation. Yeah. It's that stuff. Yeah, it's a sort of complicated idea. No, well, in some cases, I guess, at least from what I understand, it's ultimately useful if it allows you to get what you want, but at the same time, it's also incredibly meaningless if you're not truly moving yourself towards that. I remember having heard about some, one of the best explanations even that I heard about that was from, I think it was a professional, or so-called professional. It's not a true profession in itself. There are no ways in which anybody can get certified in that, but a person who called themselves professional in the act of manifesting, yeah. And what they said was, unavoidably, even if you are trying to manifest, what you need to do is also work yourself towards that. It doesn't matter how much you dream about getting a, I don't know, getting a Lamborghini in this uh, consumerist world. If you're not working towards that, if you don't have a job, if you're not doing any of the other steps, it won't appear out of the sky, out of the blue. It won't happen. One thing is to manifest something, other is to childishly dream out the stuff, you know? The larger the concept grows, the more weight it will have over your decisions. And the easier it is to move yourself in the direction of that idea. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even in what you say, the concept itself is present of the easier it is to move yourself. You still need to do something, you know. You still need to have some fucking part of participation. It's not just I manifest. I don't know, being happy and expect that out of nowhere one day you are going to be happy. It's this idea. The best example is always that the stuff of, oh yeah, 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 I want to be happy. Am I actually doing things that bring me happiness? Maybe not. Maybe what I am dreaming for is sort of unrealistic if I am not allowing myself to have that. I don't know, man. It's understandable. It's understandable, yeah. But I guess I don't want to discredit it in a certain sense, but at the same time, or to be too much of a, oh yeah, a controversial statement, but it's, I see it like that. In many ways, even the average person manifests way more than what they can actually admit. This idea of, oh yeah, I have dreams that I want to work myself towards, that I want to picture before I even get there, that I want to mentally understand before I start to work towards that. I need to create an image of what I desire before I solve that. Or this same thing that I was saying before. In some cases, people even have the capacity to realize how they could fix their whole lives. Okay, you have manifested that, and now you need to also move yourself towards that. In some cases, people don't want to call things by other names, or I guess it's or specifications, ways to categorize things and sub-classify stuff, and further divide the things into more and more specific ways of referring to them that might not be all that useful, but yeah, to some degree, most people tend to manifest, even if I guess they are not going to call that. It's sort of, I don't want to say it in a sense of, there is, I remember, yeah, let me say like this. I remember hearing, or not hearing, reading out this very recently. There was this discussion, I was continuing with the study of a lot of things that are related to logic and whatnot, yeah. And one of them is, I make a category that didn't exist before, and now I get to bunch up everything else, and I don't tell you. To some degree, it's sort of unavoidably unfair to say, oh yeah, yeah, every person manifests, even if they don't realize that. It's unavoidably bad to do so. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, but I don't know. I will make up my own definition of what is it? Of doing bad deeds, and out of nowhere, everyone is going to be doing them. Why? Because this will apply to the average person, and even if they don't know, they will be doing bad stuff, and because of that, I will get to judge them differently. That's bad. That's wrong. But yeah, I don't know. The point was, I guess it works. Unavoidably, it works. Also, welcome to me. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing fine. I hope you're having a fantastic day, night, and even if you are not right now, you can truly try your best to make sure that it at the very least gets to end better than how it started. Thank you very much. Welcome. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's the point was many people talk about this stuff. Many people say, "Oh yeah, how all of these other things that I am focusing on." Unavoidably, all of us have things that we focus on, things that we say we care about, things that we look towards, things that we utilize our time on. It's, I guess, if you're alive, you're investing your time in something, even if it is the most selfless action in terms of, or less. It's not selfless. It's participation required, requiring action. I guess something along those lines. Stuff like, oh yeah, I'm going to literally just sleep and whatnot. Even stuff of that sort is still doing something. The reality is, in the end, am I moving myself towards those places that bring me through satisfaction? And yeah, at the same time, I already said that it's not that it's impossible to recognize them. It's just that it takes way too much time and it takes way too much effort to be capable of realizing that sort of stuff. I guess, I don't know, the example provided was stuff like manifesting. And would you say that the goal uh, of life is happiness? No, I don't think so. I think it's. Okay, let me say that there's something the capacity to state what the goal of life lies in the hand of anyone, but unavoidably, if your pursuit in your perception of life is, or in your perception of your goal of life is just to attain happiness, at that point you might unavoidably be following stuff that will not, in the end, allow you to gain true happiness. Happiness is not gained through the action of pursuing it itself, but rather in the pursuit of the thing which you like the most, which might not be at all, in some cases, even related to happiness. I guess, I don't know, something incredibly controversial related to what Cadespian earlier said before he left. This idea of there are people that are even masochists. You know, that is a very controversial example, but yeah, even in suffering, some people find happiness. It's not about, oh yeah, I have to pursue happiness itself. It's pursuing the things that allow you to be, in that sense, fulfilled. The issue is, can you understand that? Can you understand what makes you yourself personally happy? Can you be honest enough to identify it and to be capable of telling yourself that you like that, despite what everyone else also likes, and despite what the society tells you that you should like? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you're going to change what you say you like, what you say you want, depending on the way or the society in which you live and whatnot. But I don't know. It's complicated. It's unavoidably complicated. But yeah, it's the goal is not just happiness. The goal is something else. The goal is, I guess, in the most general sense, fulfillment. Maybe the pursuit of happiness is fulfilling, but the common rule is that it isn't really. So that's why it's hard to say that actually just going for happiness is enough. But yeah, the idea, anyway, continuing with the other thing before I lose my own track. And yeah, I mean, no, it's not even something different. It's all the same thing still. It's this idea of, and yeah, I have things that are like, I have stuff that I wanted to do. My own existence is something that I get to understand, but at the same time, there are also other parts of it that I do not get to properly understand in terms of realizing properly, being capable of honestly stating to myself what I actually want to have going on inside of it that would allow me to be happy, that will allow me to be, in this case, something that isn't as painful as what I am right now. It will need me to change way too many things that I am actually having going on, that I know I need to keep sustaining in order to at least survive in the actual mode of existence that I am accustomed to going through. And that is unavoidably risky, but I don't know, man. This whole idea, I have been trying incredibly hard to find a proper way to say it. I think this year, if there has been a battle that I have been fighting a lot, is finding a different way to say, oh yeah, everything is risky. Unavoidably, every single thing is risky. But it's not just about the risks. Everything requires stuff. Everything is in some way demanding, you know? Everything in some way is time consuming, exhausting, exasperating. Everything is in some way horrible. Or it could be for anyone horrible. But what matters is not having bad things happen, but rather understanding what could be nice. What do we actually ourselves have an interest on, and what we can actually try to do to have it out happen in our own existence also. It's not so much an existence predicated by everything else that happens around us, but rather the possibility of enjoying things that we know we want. Because it's the connection with that eternal, eternally ignored awareness of, yeah, I get to have my own life. Do I understand that? Do I understand what I want? Do I understand what my life should be about? And at that point, then, yeah, it stops unavoidably. Yeah, it sounds difficult, but everything else is to some degree bad. I don't know. I don't think the person who has to go through the emotions of life just to sustain their family has the possibility so much of changing their whole existence for the sake of bettering themselves. But the reality is in itself, in some cases, it also is possible. In some cases, it's not so much an equation of, oh yeah, these unavoidable things happen and I can't in any other way change them. I don't know, man. I don't want to say it in a negative light, but yeah, waking up incredibly easy in some cases. Also, when I wanted to get out of the way of my way of life and change my ideals, I had to cut ties with all my long time and closest friends because they dictated my behavior and future. Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, that's the reality of it. I don't think it's all that bad in terms of, well, unavoidably it's bad. Let me be honest. Unavoidably it's fucking horrible to have to say goodbye to people that you have known for so long. I think it's one of the most disheartening things that I have to experience myself also when I had to say goodbye to people that I thought was going to be next to me for the whole rest of my life, which in the end didn't. But the reality is not that, oh yeah, it hurts. Even if it hurts, it has a reason for why it is happening. Even if I don't know, there is I guess in the final analysis, even if in some cases I will have to cry, those are not tears shed for the sake of just lying to someone else and getting what I want out of existence. Those are unavoidable moments of pain that I have to endure to be capable of attaining finally that satisfaction that I say so much that I want and that I can even in some cases picture. It's this same way of, oh yeah, yeah, do things make sense for me? Do the way in which I'm trying to change make any kind of sense to me? Is the direction that I am taking in between 1,000 chords the correct one? Or the one that at least allows me to be happier? Maybe I am not asking myself that. Maybe I am just continuing with things that in the long run hurt me. And it's that sort of stuff also that is useful, wonderful, necessary, but that we normally do not allow so much. I don't know. Yeah. Let me say it like this. Let me say it like this. It's it it is an easier tool for me to utilize. Parenthesis. It is an easier tool for me to utilize the third person participative. I think it is called we instead of I. I don't know. I don't want to think that only I struggle. unavoidable at the same time. Also, I have to admit, it sounds incredibly fucking horrible to say so much. We supposedly not everybody should be having such a hard time in existence. But at the same time, I don't know. I look out there. I don't see all the people that I know being the happiest that they can be, doing all the things that we can do in order to have those lives that we say we want so much. Doesn't happen that way. But yeah, in some cases, I guess I try to shy away a little bit from all of that because in the end, it's easier to say that it is only something that happens to me. Supposedly, I don't know, man. It truly isn't. I wish I unavoidably also have my worries, but I look out there and I see I talk not oh yeah, I see people and they struggle. It's not just that. Also, not sure if this helps, but I ask myself that for a very long time, and I still don't have the answer. I just try to stay flexible and ready for change so I can adapt if I find a better answer to my current. Yeah, I mean, unavoidably, that's, I guess, one of the many concepts of resilience. I make it, yeah, let me, let me also add on to what I am saying. It's not something that I struggle with so much. I guess the only issue, going back to what was mentioned before, this idea of properly being capable of committing to the things that you say you want. We say we want. I say I want. It's only an actual issue in that sense, but at the same time, it's not so much of an impossible thing to have to get to do if the truly desired thing is such that I can ensure myself I am going to do my best to get that. And yeah, unavoidably in the it's part of life, the eternal pursuit of things that I want. But yeah, it's it's nice to know that you have something that you like. And even if it doesn't feel like the most completely cemented thing, at least having a minimal definition of something that you want is already fulfilling enough for you to let yourself keep moving forward. The issue is, I guess, unavoidably going back to what I was saying. I try to talk about this way too much because I don't see that happening so much with other people. I have friends. That's what I was trying to say. I have friends that I see struggling way too much with things that shouldn't be so much of a worry. What I was talking about before. Oh yeah, are my aesthetics so is all the time that I'm using or on my appearance on that goal is all the time that I'm spending on all of that other stuff. That goal, I don't know, man. Is it you're incredibly unhappy, brother? Is it that fulfilling for you? It's not truly. I don't want to say it as a proper statement. Statements require a lot of certainty, and I don't want to say that I am sure that the way in which someone else who isn't me is living is not as enjoyable. That it doesn't look like that, man. I don't look at those people and have the certainty that, yeah, they are happy. I don't live with the certainty in my heart. I don't go to sleep today and say, yeah, these people have a bright future ahead of them because they are looking towards things that they actually care about. It's you know that you can care about something, you know that you can find something that you actually wish or that you actually want to invest your time on. Is actually that something that you are doing or not? I don't know, man. Once again, some people find thinking overstimulating and they will not change for a very long time. Yeah, unavoidably. Yeah. It's true. It's true. It is indeed true. But I, I don't know. I guess it doesn't mean that it cannot be in any way changed to be something less annoying. It's I remember, let me say, from this perspective, I remember having heard something about this idea of how anxiety works a long time ago at this point. One of the worst issues about anxiety is not that you don't know what is going to happen, but rather the moment in which you try to understand what might happen, you are confronted with all the possible realities of everything that might happen unavoidably, then leading back to this conclusion of something overstimulating. When you have to think about your future, if you don't possess any kind of certainty to know where you are going to aim yourself towards, you have to deal with every other possibility that might come towards your way. You don't get to know if the choices that you make will always or will actually ensure your satisfaction. You only have the capacity to struggle so much with all of the ideas that come your way and keep sifting through all of them. And at that point, yeah, that is tiresome. But anxiety itself is not so much of an unavoidable feeling. Sensations in themselves are not so much of a necessary process for the way in which we live life, let's say. Unavoidably, there are way too many things to worry about. Everything, to some degree, could be something that we could spend our entire life worrying about, you know? Is it something that we actually need to do? Maybe not. Maybe I can stop, look around, focus, refocus, reorient myself, understand what is it that I personally care about and such. It's that stuff, once again, of this idea, honesty, to some degree, to be capable of doing things that I actually say I care about, to be capable of doing stuff that I actually say I want to have going on and whatnot. And all of that doesn't happen all that much in many cases, but it can happen. And it can always be a seed that you can plant today. And maybe, yeah, in that sense, it's a sensible assessment. In 5 years, maybe you can finally start to be more capable of taking the control of your own life, maybe. But at the same time, that's a much better promise than, oh yeah, yeah, I might never sit down and try to think about what am I doing with my own life. Because it is burdensome. No, man. Time, no matter what, keeps passing. Is it all that useful for me to keep avoiding everything else? I don't know, man. Not all of that is all that important sometimes. Not all of the things that the exterior presents to me matter all that much, or need to matter as much as I make them matter mentally. People avoid it and that frustrates me. Yeah, unavoidably. I guess I have to agree in that sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that's one of the most annoying things to hear in terms of, oh yeah, are you happy? Yes, I am. And then the miserable person says, oh wow, you're being such a condescending bastard. How can you say that you're happy? Don't you understand that there are so many other people out there suffering? I'm not, I'm not at all talking about that, brother. I'm not saying that the happiness that I possess, the satisfaction, the fulfillment that I possess with my life is not true, is false, or is just there to be rubbed off on other people, to be shown off and whatnot. No. My proposition is, yeah, I can be happy. And if you're willing, I might be capable of not guiding you towards my happiness, but at least showing you that, yeah, anybody can be happy. And that's the issue. Yeah, in that sense, yeah, unavoidably, the miserable reality of I don't sit down to think about my own stuff. It doesn't need to be that way. But in that sense, it's always things always boil down to will. Do we possess the will enough to talk out all of that stuff? Do we possess enough will to actually look at those things and do something? Maybe not. Not in all cases. We are capable of doing what we say we want, moving towards the places that we say we have an interest on, and whatnot. And that's what hard says. But once again, it's certainly not that I don't understand it. I I guess the gurus of knowledge in that sense is also the wonderful reality of all of that. I know way too many people at this point who do not possess enough resources or enough sufficient things. That's the issue. It's not just about possibilities, events, chances, will. It's the whole combination of their whole life in some cases. Everything else needs to be in the right place for people to be capable of looking at that stuff and having a chance at solving it. I guess a good example is a mother who has to take care of their whole household, who has to work, who has to play the role of the mother, who has to play the role of the father, who has to play all of those things. Does that person get to have, or let's say, farther more details for three, four, five kids? Does that person get to focus on themselves? Does that human being get to have the time to dedicate it to their own existence? Maybe not. Days are still 24 hours. And yeah, in some cases, it's completely understandable. You know what? I already did all my other roles. I don't have the mental energy to sit down and think about myself after all of that. I did my role. I played the functions that I was obliged to do. I gave everyone else a possibility. Now let me just fucking watch TV. I understand that person. That is completely understandable. I wish I could stay like before in a more judgmental way of, oh yeah, yeah, know what? This person, it doesn't want to be better. They are so wrong, Goofy. No, man. Some people truly don't have that possibility. Some people are not truly given all of those chances. Everything else, once again, isn't aligned for that to happen. But what matters, I guess, that's my resources. We're here. We can obviously, supposedly, talk about all of that. Then work, yeah. I mean, it's a complicated matter. In that sense, I don't think it is incredibly complicated. I think I, I I don't want to say that I am trying to just die on the hill of, oh yeah, you pick something that you like to do for a job truly, and you don't have to work for the rest of your life because you will be doing what you like so much. Not in that sense, but in the sense of you can understand what you actually find fulfilling to do, and it is going to be something that even if you don't have all that energy to do every single day, you can understand that you do that same thing with an insight that you gain after. Oh yeah, I don't know. It makes sense for me to do this thing. It makes sense for me to participate on this stuff. I don't know. For example, a medic. I might not have the best money by being a medic, by being a clinic, by being a doctor, any of those things, but they are fulfilling to me. I get to know that I am helping someone else have a minimally better life. sufficient enough. Sufficient enough. Maybe the pay isn't that good. All the other rewards, the reputation isn't all that important, that beneficial, that useful. But it is something that brings me that other sort of satisfaction, that thing that supposedly money can't buy, you know? That's where I want to not say that I might be onto something. Why? Because once again, you look at the general population and then supposedly so many people don't choose based on that. What are they choosing based on then? To just get enough money to live? To just get enough money to what? To pay rent? To pay the bills? To what? Why are we working? Aren't we supposedly in a world in which we are free to have any kind of position that we want? Mm. It's unavoidably, yeah. It's that same idea of free to die of starvation free. But I don't know, man. It's I guess that thing, yeah, let me say it like this. Even then, experiencing enough things allows you to understand that, yeah, even if in itself the action of working isn't the most fulfilling one, there are some places in which you can gain that other sort of satisfaction, you know? Also, we're forced to work. There is no organization in the working class, so our freedoms will be taken from us by the organized higher class. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's a completely different discussion in the sense of it might be. Does it need to always be that way? Does it need to be something that we will never fight for? Does the average person need to never concern themselves with the rights that they possess, that they can claim, that they can gain, that they can fight for in any kind of area, not just work. That's the general issue. Not just in work, in the working space, in the whole living space. Maybe the person needs to be a little bit more involved with everything else. But once again, it's not like it doesn't make sense. Uh, Welcome back to the society of exhaustion and depression and whatnot, and tiredness and similar stuff. Unavoidably, you do things that you don't like for goals that only fulfill you for a limited amount of time. Then, for the things that you truly care about, supposedly, you might not even have enough time to do, you might not even have enough energy to use on that. Yeah, it's not like it doesn't make sense. But on the other hand, at some point you stop justifying everything else with, oh yeah, there is this other explanation. Sometimes it also is about, personally, today I found myself, despite how tired I am, despite how exhausted I am, willing to fight for these things, you know? Willing to maybe even sacrifice myself, sacrifice what little is there left of me for the sake of achieving something else, gaining a little bit of a benefit on any kind of area. But I don't know, that's too much of a complicated idea, and even more, that's still staying just in the personal level. N- to not mention at all stuff like, oh yeah, and because not only do I understand that I need this, but because it is also something that everyone else should have, you know? is something that also everyone else should be allowed to possess. It should be something that the average person, not just me personally, should have in their hands. And that's sort of a discussion is a sort of altruism that I guess is not so much of a common discourse of an easily observable thing in nature. So subject level first and for I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I said way too many things today. I am trying to order myself mentally, and let me drink something. Eventually, the people will open their eyes because of the ever increasing entropy of a flood system. The question is if it will be in time. I like listening to the clock tick. It's relaxing. Yeah, I also like that. I don't know. I mean, unavoidably, it is supposedly true. It is something that it's said quite a lot of. Oh yeah, yeah. Societies are designed to fail, or destined all of them to fail. The issue is always, or not the issue, that the common trope is that we live in the best worst society that we can allow ourselves to have, because this one is what will allow the next one that should supposedly be even better while still also being flawed be born out of. But yeah, I don't know. Is it time? I don't know if there is time. I don't know if time in itself should be the matter. I guess what's. Let me trace it like this. From a personal perspective, unavoidably, it does matter, all of the societal stuff, but at the same time, yeah, this is another thing of, in some cases, I also see people, I guess, social media also allows us to see that more than anywhere else. This sort of other social creatures, which are a lot more focused on everything society related, while their own life is quite empty, you know? I can't focus myself so much on society. I cannot, I shouldn't allow myself to be so much looking outwards. If I am inwards, not all that controlled, capable of enjoying what I have, sustaining something that I say I like, not to dismiss the conversation, but in terms of, in some cases, yeah, society might not be the best, but at the same time, even if it isn't the best, it doesn't prohibit so many things as in some cases I hear people say. It's, I think I have heard stuff like, oh yeah, yeah, we are in the worst time for censoring and whatnot. I don't know, man. We still have stuff like this always going on. There are 1,000 places in which you can find events of this sort happening. People from all parts of the world congregating to talk about things that they like and whatnot. Unavoidably, I guess. There are things that might be controversial to mention. There might be some things that might not be the best to at all outright point ourselves at or point the fingers at. Yeah, there are once again life. The world has everything it needs to interest ourselves in. It's also in some cases about accepting those limitations. I don't know, for example, a good example is society, actual society doesn't allow us to talk about things like killing human beings for a hobby and finding it entertaining. Maybe in a different society that will be a possibility that we would be capable of enjoying, but right now I don't find it all that annoying to not have that chance. I don't find it all that bad to say, oh yeah, you know what? Today I want to go out and kill some. No, man. I just focus on something else. I just find myself interested in other stuff. I just understand that those things are there for some reason, supposedly. Move on, you know? Move on from there onto something that I can care about. And the human being is quite adaptable, let's say. And yeah, the interest itself of the human being is also quite adaptable. But yeah, I don't know. Let me talking about adaptability. You know what happens when you drink a lot of liquids? Uh, your digestive system digests the liquids, water goes in, and something else that is all the deposits of all the minerals that you do not require and whatnot goes out. So yeah, I need like a 5 minute break. Give me some time. Thank you. Yeah, give me a tiny second, please. Give me how much? No idea. A little bit. A long bit? Some bit. Thank you. See you soon. Am I in time? Do you already leave? Silver lining? So fucking over. Cannot even. Uh, if you're there, still good night. If not, so fucking over, anyways. But yeah, good night. So fucking over. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. It has been a good day, I guess. That's what I started with, yeah. Despite everything that happened yesterday, it has been a good day. So I'm happy with that, yeah. I can say that. And, I don't know. Tomorrow we have Mahabharata, so I am also looking incredibly forward to that. Let me say something personal. Or not personal in the sense of how I. Let me tell you a little secret of mine. No, I don't do that stuff. But let me talk about something. Finally I went back to pay attention to what one of the many people that have to study says. I am revisiting Carl Jung. It is funny to see that guy. I wasn't really expecting to have seen so many of the concepts already. I felt like I was forgetting. I find myself to not have forgotten so much about those things. So now there are some other parts that, yeah, take a lot of time to properly integrate. Also, even more because that guy writes in a fucking weird manner. But yeah, processing the world through the senses, as always, the funniest thing ever. And it's useful, I think, and it's wonderful also. It's always the act of continuously giving it time to cultivate and to properly absorb more and more ideas. It is an always existing chance. If we capitalize on that or not is a different matter, but yeah, there is. I have been slowly trying to go back into that same rhythm of continuously gaining things that I can later on utilize. I guess, yeah. I wanted to mention it more correctly, but it takes quite a lot of time to do so. This thing of insight, of wisdom, of moment of revelation, of understanding, whatever you want to call it. Many actions get to make sense if you understand the reason behind them. If you get to understand why you are doing something, it becomes a lot more feasible for you to commit to the action that you are trying to do in any way. And that same thing happens here. Studying is not such a toll or such a horrible experience. It's quite a wonderful thing, and it's quite a. I guess, yeah, even the sorrow thing. It's this eternal interest in knowledge, the human, the human satisfaction, and the human interests that are always there, that are always lying around, that are always in a close way that we can try to pay attention to, that we can try to look at, that we can try to focus on. Are there. In that same case, yeah, these things that pick up the interest and that we can utilize our time on gain a lot more value than what we are capable of in some cases admitting, even, I guess. Or yeah, admitting if we do not ever consider them properly, or if we do not ever try to at all make sense out of them. And yeah, in that same sense, yeah, revisiting, in one hand, revisiting ideas I also talked about earlier, having to continue studying some logic, having to, I have to pass on to rhetoric and whatnot. Now I am trying to go through all of that stuff. It's incredibly complicated, I guess. The construction of discourses and whatnot is a complicated matter always, but in itself, it's an interesting idea, nonetheless. And yeah, no matter how much friction exists in all of that stuff, it is still a performable action, so it stops being such a bad thing. But yeah, in itself, it is still something taxing as everything else. So it's just about doing it with enough care to not overwork oneself, I guess, to not burn out. I don't know. But yeah, all of that stuff is wonderful. I find it. And I don't know. I guess, sadly, most people do not. It's not that most people do not learn about things. From a personal perspective, I just don't find it to be the truth that most people learn about things that might be qualified as useful in the general sense, but always people are learning out their interests. The issue is to be capable of finding something that interests you that also is in any other way connected to the rest of the world. I don't know. It's it's a complicated discussion in the sense of I can't properly say in some cases, or not I, in that sense, what I cannot properly say that I like things if it means that what I like also affects other people, because it becomes too much of a complicated statement in the sense that I might actually have to honestly say that what I like is not just to me but also to everyone else. And in that sense, it is an incredibly risky statement. I might be putting too much on the line in terms of my own safety and my own image in relation to everyone else if I say that I like something that isn't just entirely based on an interest which only I get to understand, let's say. But even then, it's not an impossible action to do. It's not an impossible thing to try to pursue and try to have happen. You know, it's just something that otherwise, if it never at all happens, I might not ever even get to fully feel satisfied. I guess the people who I do see complain about the stuff of yeah, I'm disconnected, I'm way too far away from everyone else and whatnot. Can we allow ourselves to say stuff of that sort? Can we allow ourselves to say, yeah, you know what, I want to have some interest in social connections. I want to have some interest in I don't know, any kind of aspect that doesn't involve just myself. Can I say it? Can I allow myself to say it? Am I not going to feel bad if I say it? Maybe I might not actually do that if I state what I like or what I might want, what I might enjoy. It's not such a matter of oh yeah, I don't know what I like, but also once again this idea of why it's such a complicated idea in general to be capable of admitting interesting stuff. It's similar to this other thing of in some other cases, in some other areas, I have these things that I care for, these things that I care about, these things that I want to have, that I want to find, to do, and whatnot. And it's not so much of an impossible thing if I can say it, but if I can't allow myself to ever state that, I will unavoidably never reach all of that. No matter what it is, because that's also part of the point itself. But I don't know, man. It's personally so far, I keep seeing it from the perspective of stuff somewhat related to pride, for example. I might not have enough. It's not about humility. I can't accept that I can say what I like and and it might not be well accepted by everyone else. And that doesn't matter all that much. Unavoidably, some people are not going to be happy with what I like, but it doesn't influence my final choice all that much. As long as I can keep choosing what I choose or what I chose, committing myself to that thing which I say I want to have, Everything else is fine. Resection in some cases, as long as it isn't of the absolute kind in terms of, oh yeah, you can't at all do this thing, and you are also going to suffer consequences for saying at all that you like this thing, that sort of section, whatever it is about, but all the other stuff, oh wow, why do you say you like this stuff? Wow, what a crazy person. That doesn't matter, man. That matters so fucking little. It shouldn't be so much of an influence, but it still is. It's not like, oh yeah, bro. Now, no more, no one else will ever have to deal with that. No, sadly, it still happens. The pressure from the outside is a lot more heavy than what we can actually realize in some cases. And stuff of that sort seems to matter way more than what we can actually realize. So, yeah, anyway, don't worry. But yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know. I don't have that much more to say today. I I talked for like 2 hours. Not really, but I think I rambled enough. I I think that's it. I don't know. Um, wherever that actually would. So I guess see you tomorrow. See you the day after tomorrow. Hmm. I also I probably I don't know. Let me final thing. I had I made as I said before I made that funny tweet. I was also considering I should probably even then. That's why I was trying to bring that up. Una word you can't nobody can actually realize how things are being said unless there are I don't know tone indicators I guess and such. So it is still even if it is funny for me, it might not be as funny for everyone else in the sense of what the fuck is the guy actually losing it? So we will see. Maybe that gets deleted. Maybe I don't know. That's something for me to worry about and for you to not think about anymore, anyways. So yeah, that will be it for today. Thank you. I don't know. Thanks for everything as always. Keep yourself hydrated. Keep yourself smiling. Did you know that if the mere act of smiling already gives you a lot of stuff, makes you better, makes you younger, makes you happier in itself. So yeah, do all of that stuff, I guess. And yeah, thank you for everything. It has been a wonderful night. Stay safe, rest, dream, look forward to the future, and similar. Until next time being whenever. And even if it doesn't happen, still, thanks for being here. Good night.